With less than 3 weeks to go, early voting is underway in the state elections here in the Commonwealth. We have reached out to all 6 of the candidates for statewide office, for governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general, for a one-on-one interview here at 7:30. We'll bring you each conversation as it happens and post them all to our website, WTVR.com. Tonight, I'm joined by State Senator Ghazala Hashmi, the Democratic candidate for lieutenant governor. Senator, welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Well, good afternoon. I'm glad to be here.
Well, it's good to have you. So tell us, what is this election all about?
There's so much at stake in this election, and Virginia voters are making critical decisions that are going to impact their families, their future, their lives, most especially around issues around health care, affordability, and making sure that Virginia continues to be resilient in the face of the kind of chaos that we're seeing coming out of Washington.
Well, so I want to talk about it, and I don't want to talk about it much, but you as a potential state leader, what is your take in guiding Virginians on whether Jay Jones is fit to be Attorney General?
So many of the Virginia voters that I'm talking to know what's at stake. And what's at stake this November is how we either move Virginia forward or how we capitulate to the demands of the Trump administration. And so many of the issues that I'm fighting for stand in stark contrast to my opponent. The issues around Medicaid cuts that are impacting the lives of over 300,000 Virginians. My opponent says he simply doesn't believe that's true. And I'm running against somebody who wants to close public schools. He said that quite openly. And as you know, as a former educator, I'm fighting to ensure that every child in Virginia has opportunity and access. So Virginia voters are focused on what's at stake, and I think we're going to see that clear message in November.
So you're saying the Jay Jones question is irrelevant to Virginia voters at this point?
So many of the voters I talk to want Democrats up and down the ballot to fight for them. That's what's important.
So you mentioned affordability, and Abigail Spanberger has talked about that quite a bit. What can you do to actually make things more affordable?
Well, I can do what I've been working on for 6 years now in the Virginia Senate, and I've been focusing on housing affordability, affordability on child care issues, making sure that education, especially opportunities for career and technical programs, college education, that is actually affordable for our families. And we've been making progress. We have an opportunity in the next administration to really move the needle, most especially on the impacts for our working families. Child care is out of the reach of so many families.
Governor Youngkin was talking about that just yesterday, saying he has made great strides in it, but didn't talk about exactly how much the state could actually put in to make it more affordable. Are there things that the state can do?
Absolutely. We were making great progress before the Youngkin administration came in, and we were focusing on ways in which we could provide support and assistance to our child care providers. So I introduced legislation last year that brings in a combination of support, employer assistance, as well as state level assistance to make child care affordable for their employees. So in a combination of employer payment, employee payment, and state level support, we can actually bring the cost down.
Well, and there have been a lot of federal grants. Just today there was reporting at VPM and the public radio and TV that many of the grants have stymied a lot of the work here in Virginia. The federal grants frozen by the Trump administration. We're not getting the full picture yet of how much, but it seems to be in the hundreds of millions. Is that going to impact us going forward?
These are the difficult conversations that we are having. Just yesterday, Senate Finance and Appropriations Committee, on which I serve, met, and we heard about those impacts that we're going to see. It's not just the federal grants, which are having a devastating impact, but we have so many state positions, state employees that are actually funded by federal dollars, and those cuts are coming. We're going to see state employees that work in critical agencies losing their positions. That means our families are not going to receive the support and the services that they need. And so this is going to have terrible impact, and we are certainly focused on that that in the General Assembly.
And finally, we just have a little bit of time left. ICE enforcement. What's your recommendation to law enforcement agencies in Virginia about cooperating or how much to cooperate with ICE?
Well, we certainly want to make sure that anyone who is committing illegal and harmful activities are treated with the accordance that they deserve. But so often now we're seeing innocent people who are actually citizens or people who are here legally being rounded up or being harassed. And one thing that we know, and as I talk to our local police departments, as I talk to our sheriffs, so many of them want to focus on the job at hand, which is public safety. That's what they've been hired to do. That's what they've been trained to do. We need to make sure that they are doing the work to protect our communities and not doing immigration issues. Those are concerns that they don't have any training.
All right, State Senator Ghazala Hashmi, thank you so much for coming in, Democratic candidate for Lieutenant Governor. And of course, we will post this interview to WTVR.com, and that's where you'll find John Reed, the Republican candidate for Lieutenant Governor's interview as well.